What is a silent killer that people don't realize is slowly eliminate them? Story 1. Lack of exercise, present company included. Even just getting out and walking around the neighborhood for a while. Gotta do something. Answer. Lack of movement really is one of those sneaky killers people overlook. It creeps up on you, messes with your heart, your joints, your sleep, even your mood. And the worst part? It feels harmless in the moment. Sitting all day feels normal now. But long term, it's draining the life out of us. Even small things like walking, stretching, or standing up more often can seriously change the game. We don't have to become gym rats overnight, just got to start somewhere. Story 2. Apparently, osteoporosis is known as the silent killer because you don't realize you have it. I'm 43 and have been recently diagnosed with it. Story 3. Honestly, I feel like I'm living to die. Wake up, work, pay bills. I can only afford shoot food, walking outside in shoot polluted air. Can't buy a home unless I'm in a relationship. In some cases, 2 incomes aren't enough. Student loans defaulting, regular loans defaulting. And sadly, I can't possibly be the only one who feels this way. In this economy, LOL. Answer. This is something I think about daily. Like, WTF are we even doing? Very few people get any time to actually live their life, let alone pursue their passions. And all for what? So another billionaire can buy his 6th vacation home and bribe another lawmaker to make our lives even worse? Fudge all of it. Greed is ruining humanity, and we're all pretending this is normal and okay. We've been lied to and taken advantage of for far too long, and the powder keg the rich have made is going to blow sooner than they think. Story 4. If you are in the UK, it could be lead. There are around 10,000 lead mines in England alone, most abandoned and never made safe, also used in pipes and paint until the 90s. A number of people, no testing, so no way of knowing how many, make themselves sick decorating their house by dry sanding lead paint. Story 5. Liver disease. It's likely that the prevalence of fatty liver disease is up to 1 in 3 people. Fatty liver is harmless, but it can progress to cirrhosis and liver failure over a long period of time. The vast majority of people will have 0 symptoms until they're on the brink of total liver failure. Answer. Luckily, due to my health anxiety, I ended up getting referred to get a gallbladder US, and it showed stage 1 fatty liver, and I'm working to change it now. But had I not been as scared of health issues as I was, I probably wouldn't have known until it progressed. I also have low vitamin D and low iron. Low vitamin D causes insulin resistance, and I believe that on top of my kind of sedentary lifestyle is what led to my fatty liver. I don't drink, so it's NAFLD. It's crazy cause I'm not the most unhealthy person ever, but the lack of everyday exercise will really catch up to you, even if you're semi-healthy with your diet. Story 6. Being mostly sedentary, even if you aren't overweight, you're screwing yourself out of a longer, higher quality life if you aren't moving and exercising. Being strong isn't optional if you want to feel great. Story 7. Keeping abusive family around. Yes, they may not even realize the damage their toxic behavior does to others, and it's incredibly painful to distance yourself or cut them off. But living life taking abuse is going to cut so much from your life. Get away and find yourself, and you'll also find better health. Answer. Thank you for this. So true. My family has dealt with my emotionally and physically abusive brother for 34 years and thought it was okay BC we're family. It wasn't until I couldn't take any more and cut him off completely that I finally felt a sense of relief. It shattered me to pieces, but at the end of the day I am at peace and not living in constant fight or flight anymore. I still love him and hope he gets the help he needs. Story 8. Unspoken grief, the kind that lingers quietly in the body, stored in joints, skin, appetite, sleep. People carry so much they never name, and it eats them in silence. The body remembers what the mouth refuses to. Story 9. Insulin resistance. I spent years having cognitive issues, leading to one entirely avoidable accident. Low energy, terrible sleep quality, and being super susceptible to any kind of infection, only to discover that low-dose semaglutide, which addresses insulin resistance, instantly fixed all of those issues. Diabetes is not a good way to go, and doctors underprescribe semaglutide given its high cost. All I got were suggestions to live a less stressful life, exercise more, and eat healthier, which I tried and didn't find at all productive. Story 10. I quickly scrolled but didn't see this one. Sleep apnea. Many have it and don't know it, but the health implications are immense. Story 11. Stress, that and constantly being surrounded by idiots. Just yesterday, someone said they got a flat tire on a forklift. Forklifts have solid tires. And when I get there, the bastard had already somehow pulled off the wheel, damaging the axle. We had to get a brand new forklift because of that idiot. The forklift he broke had only been there for a week before he did that. Story 12. I've read most comments and bad news, guys. Our lifestyles are literally eliminate us, and there's almost nothing we can do except maybe exercise and go live alone, isolated in a forest, eating berries and mushrooms while getting photographed every day because people think you're Bigfoot. So for now, make the most of your life, have fun, and take care of the people you love. That's about all we can do. Story 13. Chronic loneliness. It doesn't scream for attention like physical illness, but over time it eats away at mental health, weakens the immune system, and even increases the risk of early passing. What's scary is how common it is, especially in a world where we're more connected than ever. Sometimes all someone needs is a real conversation, not a notification. Story 14. Sleep apnea. People think it's just snoring and annoying, but it's way worse. When you're asleep and have obstructed breathing, your body panics a little bit, releasing a bit of adrenaline into your bloodstream to wake you up enough to breathe. With apnea, this can happen hundreds of times a night. Adrenaline is not good for you 300 times a night. It's great if you get surprised by a wild animal and need to run away or climb a tree, but otherwise, no good for you at all. It debilitates almost every major organ and metabolic system in your body. Long-term repeated exposure can really mess you up. If you even think you might have a problem, get it checked out. Story 15. Processed food. Most of the rest of the world has already banned high-fructose corn syrup. When will the US catch up? Answer: this. The whole food thing in the USA makes me so incredibly pissed off. The cornerstone of health and wellness education in the USA was based off a food pyramid that was not only bunk science but was shilled marketing bullshit from a conglomeration of food industry lobbies. There's a dairy lobby, an industry organization to promote the sales and production of dairy. Sounds harmless and normal, right? Go look up how they do it. Health and safety aren't among their concerns. There is a beef lobby, a pork lobby. The other white meat is marketing nonsense from here. Pork is not a white meat. A fudge lobby trying to rebrand HFCS, high fructose corn syrup, a completely unhealthy in quantities. Mass production makes increasingly cheap ingredient into corn sugar or something else more harmless, when all kinds of HFCS health information came around. As a byproduct of the Farm Bill, HFCS is so fudge cheap, it's tossed in mass quantity into everything and enables bullshit unhealthy stuff like a liter of soda being way cheaper than an apple, or the same price as a bottle of water. HFCS and seed oils aren't necessarily unhealthy in and of themselves, but they are prime enablers of the profits involved in the food problem in the USA. The USA's government gives a shitload of money to certain large farms every year, basically socializing their risks and letting these industrial-scale farmers keep the profits. Most of these farmers are mega-scale corporations, and they aren't interested at all in production of healthy, safe, sustainable, or, really, anything beneficial crops. They are interested only in profit. This is to the tune of 428,000, with SNAP, food assistance for people, accounting for 325B of that. I think SNAP is a necessary and generally good program, especially in this fudge-up timeline. Hell, it's helped me out on occasion. For the kind of cash being spent here, we really should be able to give free and healthy fruit and vegetables to every person, not company, in the country who wants it. Instead, this 428B is going to profits. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have a percentage, but potatoes at the grocery store are 1 LB. Wholesale from a farmer, they are a hell of a lot less. Like 20 times less, PDF link. And this doesn't seem to be a high-margin item. We, the people, are getting screwed. We'll keep getting screwed and have been getting screwed on food since at least the 1980s. This is our produce. Wait until you look up our meats. And then our highly processed junk food and how it's developed into a product that is on purpose designed to cause a physical dependency and literally erode your willpower and ability to say no to the food itself by playing on evolutionary traits in humans that arose to keep the species from starving to death and marketed as healthy. Apologies for the rant, it just pisses me off. Especially when these fuckers are allowed to do anything in the name of profit, including flat-out lying. Story 16. Lack of sleep due to their phones, tablets, TVs. You know why people are so miserable now more than ever. Because most people are sleep-deprived. Story 17. Nurse here. The standard American diet. High in carbs, cheap sugar is in everything. Diabetes fudge over your whole body, cigarettes, cancer, high BP, obesity, lack of exercise, high stress, lack of financial resources to afford proper medical care. Answer, nurse here. The standard American diet. High in carbs, cheap sugar is in everything. Diabetes fudge over your whole body. Average French man here, every time I visit the US, I crave vegetables and fruits after a week. It's hard to find simple and healthy food in your country. Even most of your restaurants don't have that many options. Lots of transformed food. Everything tastes sweet when it shouldn't. I'm always thirsty. Target. Portion size. Didn't even know you could buy that much cheese balls in the same package. And 711, i.e. industrial quantity of soda, adult beverage, snacks, and a basket with 3 bananas is a big cultural shock for me. I think I can eat healthier in a French gas station on the highway. Good food doesn't need to be very complicated or fancy, actually. That's why I like English pubs, actually. It's not about being snob or having luxury taste. Story 18. 20 years as a paramedic in the ghetto, and a lot of men stroke out due to blood pressure issues. It seems especially poor ethnic communities. Please ask about BP. I'm sick of good men ending up in wheelchairs or worse. Yes, it's worse in ethnic communities. Primary care is lacking and all that. I know and I mean that's wrong, but you still need to go and get in the cuff to find out. When I went to trauma and heavy rescue for the last 17 years of my career, I really noticed the inadequacy. But please try. If you have to pay $1 a month, the hospital has to treat it and take care of you, or they get shoot, so make them earn it. Story 19. Hypertension and diabetes. They destroy you from the inside out, slowly, mostly painlessly. Get your numbers in check. Story 20. Subjecting yourself to abusive people. Whether they hit you or not, it does actually physical damage to your body to put up with it over time. If you're reading this and it feels like you're doomed, treat it as a wake-up call. Form a safety plan. Remove yourself from the situation. Start over. Spend time alone. Spend time with a therapist. Learn how to see red flags and enforce boundaries to get out of the cycle. You can do it, and your mind, body, and soul will improve tenfold. Story 21. Breathing. Our bodies are in a constant war to repair the damage oxidation of our internal organs causes. Story 22. Plastic. Plastic in clothes, plastic in cooking utensils, plastic in bedding, plastic in cleaning products, plastic in hygiene products, plastic, plastic, plastic. Story 23. Stress slowly weakens your immune system, damages your heart, affects sleep, memory, and even how you look. Story 24. I lost my brother back in January to a massive heart attack. The paramedic called it a widowmaker. He had 0 signs of heart issues, so I would say heart health. Story 25. DNA damage, which accumulates over time, resulting in shortened telomeres and mutations in nuclear and mitochondrial DNA, causing increased risk of cancer and other cellular defects, which slow processes like replacement and repair of damaged cells and passing of cells that are no longer functioning. Story 26. Silence. Words hurt, but silence eliminate, especially when you are looking for a dialogue, but it seems like you are talking to a wall. Story 27. Living in big jerk cities, the pollution made there is already bad in itself, but that same pollution causes like a mini greenhouse effect. That surrounds the city, making the heat get stuck. And because 99 of those cities are pure concrete, the heat stays there, making people more prone to dehydration, heat strokes, also sitting in the toilet more than necessary. Story 28. Microplastics. I have a feeling it's going to be 100 times worse when the science comes out fully than lead and asbestos combined because of the sheer number of people exposed. Story 29. Mold. It is not talked about enough how many health issues mold causes, both physical and psychological. Story 30. Sedentary jobs and car commuting. Imagine sitting for 10-11 hours a day. And we have to take those kinds of jobs to get better pay somehow and use a car to commute long distances for cheaper rent. Now try doing that for 40 hours in a row. Story 31. Food deserts and poverty leads to bad food decisions and more health issues like heart attacks, cancer, lower age mortality versus the general population, etc. Story 32. When people stay too long in places where they don't belong, where their energy is constantly drained, they gradually lose their sense of self. This leads to a kind of spiritual passing. T is not just physical passing, it might even be something worse, deeper, quieter, and more devastating. Story 33. Soda. I know many people think it isn't that bad and, oh, it's not so bad if I drink diet soda. But those are just as bad due to the artificial ingredients, especially the phosphates that are extremely hard on your kidneys. So many people develop kidney disease because of years of drinking soda. Story 34. Sedentary lifestyle. You don't need to pump iron at the gym every day, but a 15-20 minute walk daily can have immense health benefits. Story 35. A chronic lack of sleep. Most people need an average of 7 to 9 hours of good sleep each and every day to remain happy and healthy. Getting less than that increases your base stress levels, increases your risk of cancer and other health issues, and severely affects your mental well-being. What makes things worse is that the people who are not getting enough sleep are also likely to be working 16-hour days, which again increases the stress levels because they don't get any downtime to relax and unwind. Story 36. Living close to a busy highway. In Toronto, I saw a graph of cancer rates. Huge spikes close to highways where cars are sitting filling all rush hour. If you know Toronto, 8WI 420 Seneca and Gardner. Story 37. Apparently fucking meat. Even the non-processed stuff increases risk of stroke by like 16, among other things. If you eat more than like a pork chopsteak a week, I think LMO were so doomed. Story 38. Lack of sleep. There is so much we need to do that people are not getting enough sleep and instead just consume way too much caffeine. Story 39. Stress. Overthinking money, overthinking their spouse or significant other, overthinking social standing. Story 40. Microplastics. Some you can't avoid. But drinking hot coffee from disposable coffee cups, reheating your food in plastic Tupperware, etc., just adds tons into your body. It gets into every organ. Story 41. Getting manipulated by politics and hating on others while you are being openly robbed of your rights to get a developed, educated society. Draining emotional energy by associating yourself to a movie star, sportsman, influencer, politician, and then supporting them blindly. Pollution. We all talk about air and water pollution. Now let's talk about the least talked about form of pollution. Noise pollution. After living abroad for years and coming back to a country I call home. My first impressions, all those honking till I reached home, and on our way we passed some marriage celebration who were parading on the road with super loud music and bursting crackers on road. Unhealthy food. Story 42. In my opinion, being a student nurse, I realized being depressed could be a silent killer and is eliminate to the point where it can end up to the tragic end thoughts. So every day, be strong and have positive thoughts in every aspects. And also don't take everything in your hand, like blaming yourself, that it was your fault. Something should be left in the hands of God. Not everything going on can be controlled. Story 43. Chronic stress. You don't see the damage until it's already affected your body, sleep, and relationships. Story 44. I do 52 miles a week walking, then hit the gym a few times. I am 64 and want to keep my independence and health for as long as I can. Story 45. The ongoing and unmitigated COVID pandemic, which still still maims, and still makes people more vulnerable for any number of other health concerns. Story 46. Being poor, existing under a capitalism economy, modern American food system, the Trump administration, unconfirmed but suspicious, social media, modern tech in general. Story 47. 5G and chemtrails. Come on, someone had to do it. Snark if you couldn't tell. But honestly, getting your medical info from Facebook, aka doing your own research, I've seen more bad outcomes from that than anything. What's that line? Weaponized incompetency. Story 48. Microplastics, maybe. Supposedly forever chemicals in shoot, like microwave popcorn doesn't sound good either. Story 49. Poor sleep. It screws up hormones, leading to stress and weight issues, interferes with healing, messes with memory and brain function, etc. Story 50. Ozempic while having a sedentary life. I feel like people will get hooked on it because they can continue to eat shoot food, no exercise, and still lose weight. This can't be normal, and I feel like firm the road it will make people more lazy and irresponsible with their body. Answer: I am sure there are some that treat it that way. However, I can assure you not all, because, well, me, are that way. I come from a long line of short, stocky people, so weight has always been an issue for my whole family. We were not fortunate to have tall, slim genes. I have struggled my entire life with extreme weight and have been on every diet, fitness plan, and medical intervention known to mankind. At one point, my mother had me on amphetamines in the 70s as a young child, which only describes some of the trauma and abuse I had. However, this medication has been life-changing for me. As a result, I am down almost 100 lb. I bought a gym membership for the first time in my life, got a personal trainer, and feel stronger and better than I ever have, even after bariatric surgery. Story 51. Life. Terminal illness with a 100 mortality rate. People never worry about it until they're 1 foot in the grave. Then they start eating healthy and exercise. Story 52. Social media makes people auto-compare themselves with whoever they see. From there, you see people living deep in debt in order to keep with the Jones. That turns people to overwork, sleep very little, and maybe eat. Story 53. Loneliness and stress. Life is a team sport. We all need a team, coach, cheerleaders, medical support, and rehab team. Story 54. Untreated, undiagnosed diabetes. Every moment your blood sugar is elevated, you are causing damage to your organs. Story 55. Social media. It may not be eliminate individuals, but it's making everyone angrier and more stressed and more isolated. It makes us collectively believe lies about climate change and whatnot. And it's slowly tearing apart communities and throwing them in the hands of people of bad faith, populists and wannabe dictators. While if we would just vote on whatever would be best for most people, we could be thriving. Story 56. In the United States, I would say it's 1. Sodas. 2. Sleep apnea. 3. Lack of physical activity. The office rat race has so many people addicted to or dependent on being stationary all day that they don't even realize they're eliminate themselves. All 3 of those combined would account for the majority of health problems in America. Story 57. That the disease you're experiencing is most likely a symptom of something harming you in your environment, food, water. Story 58. Not me reading every comment and thinking I do that at least I don't smoke. One I haven't seen yet is drinking, which I do though, albeit I never got tipsy. Story 59. There are going to be a constant flood of studies. There are already a few of how short-form video and being a tablet baby ruins you. Story 60. Adult beverage. Putting poison in your body does so much more damage than just to your liver. That shoot causes cancer. Story 61. Cholesterol. I eat an incredibly healthy diet and mine was still way high. Doc said it's just shoot genetics. Now that I take a statin, my numbers are much better. Story 62. Fun fact. Endocarditis is a disease where the bacteria from a tooth abscess spreads to the lining and valves of the heart and causes inflammation. It eliminates about 6,600 Americans every year. Story 63. Depression. You can get to the point where you look up and realize how many years have passed while you were on pause underneath your dark cloud, crushing under its weight. Story 64. Diabetes. especially type 2. Starts out minor symptoms that goes unnoticed. Later, diabetes affects the eyes, kidneys, and circulation to extremities. I see so many on dialysis with foot-leg amputation. Also increases your risk of strokes. Another is cirrhosis from drinking. Our patients are getting younger and younger diagnosed with cirrhosis. The youngest I seen was a 20 years old that is dying from cirrhosis. He already developed pulmonary hypertension and needed dialysis. They keep drinking until their liver shuts down. First, they complained on minor abdomen pain, a little jaundice along. With hemoptysis from developing varices, it is an awful disease to die from. Story 65. High cholesterol, blood sugar, sleep deprivation, sedentary lifestyles, and carbon monoxide or natural gas leaks as a LOL. Story 66. There's an interesting documentary called Drinkers Like Me, which is about a guy exploring the effects of more social drinking rather than binge drinking. There is no safe amount of adult beverage to drink, and he wanted to explore what lower-level drinking did. Story 67. Adult beverage, increasing every day the risk of liver and heart disease, and at least 7 types of cancer, including breast and colon cancer. Story 68. Unhealthy food, substances, and adult beverage, no exercise, no sleep, no social life, stress, no nature. Story 69. Too much sleep, too little sleep, night shifts, untreated sleep apnea. People don't realize how much of your health relies on adequate sleep. Story 70. Gravity. It's been holding us down since the dawn of time. 100 of people die on the ground by gravity. It puts us on the ground, then into it. We must stop it. Story 71. Capitalism. It's designed to extract the most it can out of you whilst giving you the least in return. Stress, anxiety, overwork, lack of sleep, poor nutrition, lack of access to healthcare, these are all symptoms of the system. Story 72. I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. A couple years later, I went blind in one eye. Left my then wife, and now I can see and poop. Edit. Stress. Story 73. Poor sleeping. My doctor said that getting good restful sleep is more likely to lead to a healthier heart than cutting red meat. Story 74. Not stretching or foam.